All right. Good evening, everyone. Happy Thursday. It is January 20, 2011. Thanks so much for joining us here tonight. Truth Brigade on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. Hope you are staying warm, but from what I see on the text chat already, negative 19, negative 14, that's probably impossible. But we got to wake up with a little snowstorm here in the Ozarks, and if you know anything about the Ozarks, we don't usually get real snow, so that was a nice surprise. Anyways, trying to enjoy that here, but tonight, our first night of the year, back with Tobias Lars, author of Listening to the Sun and Awakening Souls, one of my favorite books, which you can find at soulcounseling.com. We are going to be talking about the Galactic Illuminati, the blame game, and personal denial, and I promise we're going to stay on topic this time, and we're going to try to get through all of that. We'll be talking about how we can end our personal denial of who we really are. The blame game, is that a dead end? How can you end your personal denial? Who are the Galactic Illuminati, and how do they feed on oppressing free spirits? And, it's so funny. I entered into a conversation today on Facebook, which really resonated with the topic tonight. Of course, I'm not sure they were aware of the topic. It was just a conversation I happened to kind of step into, where there was one group, race, religion, sect of people that were blaming, of course, a whole entire another sect of people. And, oh, yeah, the peace thing is garbage. They say they want peace, but look, one of them raped one of these types of people. And, oh, my gosh, they have rocks and rockets and guns. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Aren't you doing the same thing? I mean, do we really want peace, or do we want to keep pointing fingers and you and I fight against each other about what's supposedly happening somewhere else, or, just based on our beliefs, our little prisons, the little boxes that we put ourselves into with these labels, or even pieces of paper we were given in universities, or however the method is. But, I think it's time for us to come clean with our personal denial, and perhaps maybe stop placing blame for everything that's happening on everyone else, because we do have responsibility and power in making better choices. CourseofAwakening.com. I guess over the break, Tobias was able to put up a few excellent new videos. Soulmates, real or a myth. Beautiful giant turtles in Hawaii. Waking up through enjoyment, and much, much more. You can go to CourseofAwakening.com for that. But stay tuned. We're going to be right back after this short break. Tobias Lars on Truth Brigade Radio. All right, welcome back. Thanks so much for joining us here tonight. Truth Brigade on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. If you would like to join us for the text chat tonight, that's over at truthbrigade.com. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to give us a call at 402-237-2525. That's 402-AFR-2525. It is so good to have you back this new year, Tobias. Once again, CourseofAwakening.com is the website. But first show of the year, woohoo! And I hear you had a nice vacation. I had a nice vacation. Did we get rested up to bring some new, powerful information this year?
I hope so. I hope so.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, what was your time of rest, your holy day season?
It was busy. After Christmas, we went to Hawaii with a group of people, and so I feel like I've been on the run ever since. But
those photos and videos you posted are just amazing. You got to swim with turtles that are like bigger than you are.
Yeah, that was beautiful. We found a new place in Hawaii that where I think the turtles must have made friends with people in the 60s or 70s because the older turtles were super friendly, and they just, thought humans were just there for them to kind of play with. So there must have been some beautiful people that made friends with them back then, and I appreciate that. Yeah, these were very much bigger than the normal turtles. Not that they're small, but these were older ones, and we found a new place. There's beautiful lagoons that we can go swimming with them in, and you just stand there, actually, and they swim right up to you. And if you go to YouTube, you can just type in turtle medicine. I think the video would pop up, turtle medicine, yeah.
Okay, or Tobias Lars, if, maybe more turtle videos happen to pop up there. But spirittravel.com, that's one T in the middle, spirittravel.com is the website to find out more about your adventures. I think last time you were in Hawaii, wasn't there like a big threat of storms or evacuations or something?
Yeah, last time was when the tsunami came in, or was going to manifest, which it luckily didn't, which was very interesting. This time we didn't create that. We just created really big surf for two days. And right now, I think there's that talk of some special contest that goes on just when there's 20-foot waves, and I think on the North Shore on the Oahu right now, they're doing it. So there's really big waves again happening right now. We had a couple of days of really big waves, and but otherwise it's beautiful. It's always beautiful in Hawaii,
Yes, absolutely. What a wonderful time. Tobias, first question in the chat for you tonight. They ask, is the Illuminati made of aluminum?
They like to think they are.
Yeah. That's for sure. Well, being that we're talking about the Galactic Illuminati and the blame game and personal denial tonight, maybe we can start off with what the Galactic Illuminati or aluminum is.
I was going to just say the word Illuminati is a plural, meaning illuminated ones or enlightened ones. So it's not necessarily anything macabre, evil, dark, sinister, in and of itself, that word. The an Illuminati could be in any field, a master. And it's also, in general, I would say, is Jesus an Illuminati? Now, here I'm going to freak people out, right? But of course he is, in the sense that he's fully awake and enlightened with the light of God. So I think if we're going to talk about, there's some people on the planet or some beings that on this planet have called themselves the Illuminati that aren't enlightened or illumined with what I would call the healthy, God-loving, source-loving, respect animals and kids and respecting the free will of others. Those Illuminati are obviously not illuminated, because once you're truly illuminated, truly awake, truly enlightened, truly I and my Father are one, then you no longer want to control other people. You no longer want to perpetrate, quote, evil. So I'm just making that distinction. In general, it's like the word occult. It's just simply a word that means occluded or dark or hidden, really. An occlusion in your eye that your ophthalmologist needs to help you with is from the same root word as occult. So sometimes we get lost in paranoia land. If someone can't even use the English language without being labeled and crucified. But so I just wanted to mention that the Illuminati in itself just means awake, enlightened. And so certainly there's lots of awake and enlightened Illuminati. Wouldn't it be fun to take the word back? Take the word back, just like we should take pornography back from the pornographers or sex back from pornographers. In the sense that if it's in denial, if it's in the dark, if it's being made to be wrong and evil, then it serves serves what I call the denial energy, or that energy that wants to kill life. There's an energy on this planet that wants to drain it of life and actually leave it spinning in space as a empty, lifeless, the Van Allen belts, the aura of the Earth having been ripped off of it. There is an impetus, an impulse that wants to, quote, kill the planet. That I don't think is healthy, and I would, I don't want that happening on the planet. So, go ahead.
Getting to what you explained about Illuminati, a truly enlightened or illuminated individual wouldn't take any part in that. So, technically,
from my point of view,
who is the Illuminati?
Yeah. From my point of view, yes. Now, if you take the position that it's just one big cosmic game like Star Wars, then Darth Vader needs to play his part in order to have a good show. So I suppose there's some quote on the dark side that say, hey, come on, relax. We're just doing our job. God wants us to do this too. Now I'm being the devil's advocate. Advocate means lawyer, so that's kind of cool. Advocate is literally a word that means lawyer in many languages. So the devil's lawyer anyway. It isn't lawyer. Being a lawyer being already redundant that you're serving the devil? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Definitely. That's funny. Yeah. So someone on the chat says, Tobias is pro-Illuminati. I heard it here. That's
right. Oh, of course, yes. I am
what they were looking for.
Yeah, I am totally pro-Illuminati for the real Illuminati, illumination of all of us. And, so is Jesus. So is anyone that wants us to wake up and smell the roses and go back to our natural selves, So, yeah, I would love that's just a word. It's a made-up word. But the people that started, in wherever it was, where was it? In Germany somewhere, right? Somebody will know, in the 1776, which is kind of weird, isn't it? That it's the same year as America is born, that these, quote, that the, quote, dark Illuminati, the ones that want to run the world, started with Adam, was it Weishaupt? And I forget the town, but he was working for the prince, etc., and so forth. And but what I wanted to talk about tonight was a little bit more why that is even able to happen on the planet Earth. In other words, it's sort of like if there's no food for evil, if there's no food for creating secret government control and hiddenness and shenanigans going on, then it can't happen. It's sort of like if you don't feed sunlight to plants, they don't grow. Well, if you don't feed denial light, dark light, to certain schemes on this planet, then it cannot take root and grow. And so I'm interested in sort of looking at tonight what happened to Earth when Earth was originally meant to be a fully naked. That is why Adam and Eve had to cover up their nakedness. They could no longer be naked with what they exactly felt. They could no longer be naked with their emotions, be truly honest. Being truly honest is being open and honest and see-through, in a sense, transparent. There's a teacher in India that I really love because he's breaking all the rules about gurus. He calls himself Sadhguru, Sadhguru. And he was a motorcycle kind of playboy kid guy growing up, having just fun with life. And he still does it. He rides bikes and plays soccer and, he's real. He's human, that kind of, one of the most famous directors in India who made that Slumdog Millionaire movie, I believe he did. Very famous director in India, would be like our equivalent of Steven Spielberg. He interviewed this man, Sadhguru. And he said, after the interviews with him, he said, he feels like a child to me. He feels completely transparent and unprotected. He says, it's like I feel like I need to protect him. But that's not the case, because that only thing that will truly protect us is that level of transparency and innocence, if you will. And that is why Joshua ben David, this is my opinion, said, become ye as little children, and unless you become as little kids, you will not enter the kingdom of heaven. What does that mean? How can little kids, you can't survive being a kid in the world. Yeah, you can. The last 20, 30 years of my life, I drive people crazy, but I'm pretty damn honest and direct, and my dad looked at me one time and said, you're still a kid. And I said, thank you so much.
Thanks for noticing. I've been working hard on that.
Yeah, because that is what takes care of us. The most dangerous thing you can be today is a political leader. I mean, look at the shooting in Tucson. That's pretty dangerous. The most dangerous thing you can be. The presidential limo now not only has bulletproof glass and doors, it also has to have its own oxygen system. Because to prevent gas attacks or something, poisonous gas. I mean, it's so dangerous now to be a political leader. The apparently strongest people in the world are in the most dangerous position. And those which are the weakest, the most innocent, the most unprotected, are going to become the strongest. The first shall be last, and the last shall be first. This is not some nice little, fairy tale story. This is spiritual physics that Jesus is trying to share with us. He's, God knows what he actually said. We're getting the watered down, triple, quadruple translated, edited text. Did you know that King James was, just because he couldn't read whatever, the Latin or whatever it was at the time, he said, I just want to make it so I can read it. That's all that meant. That's not some holy version of it or not. It just means to get translated so the king could read it.
Well, a lot of people would fight you to the death for questioning the King James version of the Bible.
I know, but if you look up King James, by the way, he was kind of a naughty dude, so, it's kind of strange. He did have, and I could really inflame things here, he did, there's some that say he had sex with animals, but you can research that as you will.
Also be considered Illuminati.
Yeah. But so don't worship something just because your parents and you were programmed to think it. Research it for yourself. Start reading it directly, Old Aramaic, if you can find it. Find some lost books of the Bible, and I will guarantee you, the more you find, the more you'll appreciate Joshua ben David. And then eventually one day you can talk to him directly yourself. I always tell people, why have a middleman? Why not go direct? Don't you like going direct? Don't you save money when you don't go through the middleman? Well, how about saving confusion by going directly to Jesus and talking to him directly? Or Buddha, or, any avatar you want, Babaji, etc., Krishna. And I know I upset people when I say that, but go direct. Go direct. It's time. It's time. It's time.
Well, speaking of the King James Version of the Bible, I learned something over my vacation. Well, I learned that it is one's opinion that the King James Version of the Bible says that all dogs are evil because they carry disembodied spirits of failed humanity, and of course that's the only animal that does so, but that's why we must stay away from them. Did you ever read anything in the Bible that said anything like that? I'm just wondering if I missed something.
Hey, Bentley, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I know. I asked. Snickers didn't really like it either. She kind of laughed.
I know. It gets wackadoodle because we are emotionally stunted humans at this point. No one teaches us to deal with our emotions. And when you don't deal with your emotions, you become basically...
But we're above that in this civilized society. We don't have any emotions, right? We're supposed to suppress them.
Right. That's why people flip out, and that's why we have school shootings, and that's why we have the Jerry Springer show, because everyone's healthy emotionally.
We just heard, here's a message on the text chat, Tobias. It says, Tobias would be like the King Kong version of the Bible.
I am not stepping on anyone. Yeah, I know. It feels so dangerous to talk about this sometimes, But anyone that's really researched it, that it just makes Jesus much more enjoyable and real and rational. If there's over 30...
What do you say, though? Because, okay, we can research and research and read and read and read and read, but really what we are researching, doing someone else's search again, and we're reading material that, well, we got to be honest here, was allowed to be printed, right?
Yeah.
So we're basically just regurgitating and holding as our belief someone else's word. So I like what you say about going direct, cutting out the middleman entirely.
Right, and at some point you can do that. You can directly, anything that's ever occurred, it's called the Book of Life, or you can call it the Akashic Records, makes an imprint. Energy is never destroyed in a sense. It keeps vibrating forever. That's why we can send things from Earth, radio waves, out into space, and it will travel for millions of light years. Well, so things that happened only 2,000 years ago, you can literally rewind the tape. You can go there and view it. St. Teresa of Konnersgut, Germany, I think it was.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tobias. Hold that right there. We'll continue this when we return on the other side. Tobias Lars. CourseOfAwakening.com is the website. Stay tuned. Truth Brigade Radio. All right, welcome back. Thanks so much for joining us here tonight. Truth Brigade on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. If you have any questions or comments for our special guest tonight, Tobias Lars, he is the author of Listening to the Sun and Awakening Souls, which you can find at soulcounseling.com. Please give us a call tonight, 402 AFR 2525, and if you'd like to join us over on the text chat, that's at truthbrigade.com. Tobias, if you would please continue. You were talking about time and energy, space.
So we can travel back. St. Teresa of Konnersreuth, Germany, there's lots of evidence, and in my mind it's authentic. She would every Friday actually travel back in time and be watching what Jesus went through during the Passion and carrying the cross and being crucified. And she would bleed and so forth. And there's evidence that she never ate for the last 30 years of her life. And I know that stretches people's ideas of what's possible. But my point is, she was doing remote viewing or time travel, if you will, through consciousness. Consciousness created time. Time is a construct. That's why when you're having a really good time, isn't that an interesting expression? When you're having good time, then time seems to go fast sometimes, right? Mm-hmm. And when you're having a bad time or a hard time, occasionally it seems to crawl along excruciatingly slow. Time is not static and stuck. So I would suggest that you can actually learn to travel back in time. Why else would the CIA or the government program spend millions of dollars on remote viewing projects that Stanford Research Institute helped initiate, and that actually could do this? And there's evidence from those things that were done by the government that when they were given the target of, and they wouldn't tell people, in other words, they wouldn't tell people this is what you're going to be looking at. They would just give them coordinates and time coordinates. In other words, go back in time and look at this. And and they would occasionally do it for Joshua ben David. And the people would come back from those assignments just blown away, going, whatever you think this man did, I'm sure he's not a bad guy. It was just the most beautiful thing I've ever felt. So we can time travel, not just by in your imagination, but literally, because time is a construct, i.e. created by the Creator, or us, we are pieces of the Creator, so we as children of that have access to all these powers, all these fruits, all these things are added to us. And you can do that. You can literally sit there and do it. Paramahansa Yogananda talks about it. He talks about, you can go to the library and you can read what Shakespeare wrote, but he says, why do that? Why don't you actually travel back and hang out with them? Now, he's not just making that up. He's actually doing it. The reason I'm saying this is because we've been programmed to forget, to be told, oh, I can't do that. No, you know. And so we have this faux, this fake, this pseudo-knowing, understanding. The word itself is standing under. Understand something is you're standing under the true knowledge. Gnosis, the Gnostics, were wiped out for a reason, because they were after real knowing. Knowing is different than parroting some information you read somewhere or heard somewhere, like you said about research, you know. So we can know. We can experience directly. And we've been trained that we can't. And this brings us back to the subject of who would be interested in keeping the gods, humans. Don't you know that you are gods? Don't you know you're pieces of the Most High? Of course we are. But these powers were literally beaten out of us or scared out of us. And who feeds on that? When there's a vacuum in the power structure, in the energy system, scientists say it, you know, that the universe abhors, doesn't like a vacuum. Well, energy goes somewhere. So if we lose our power, someone takes it over. And that's what allows, when humans have forgotten that they have the power, we are incredibly powerful human beings, because spirit cannot be destroyed. That's why monks in the Russian Revolution, these were true mystics, could walk through the battlefield and be shot through them. They were shot through them without the bullets touching them. That's impossible, Tobias. Well, no, it's not. It's been done. It is being done. This quote, it's not magic. It's just a higher form of science, a higher form. There was a time on earth when science and religion were the same thing. The true meaning of religion is to reconnect. Religio. Ligio, same root as ligament. To reconnect to that which we truly are. So, yeah, I always encourage people, that's the work I do with people, is I can show you what happened to me, and I'm not cooked. I'm not completely done and cooked, you know. I still got parts of me that God is cooking. Right? But
I hear ya.
Yeah. And why do you think you get hot when the Kundalini awakens in your body? Why do you call it a fire in the belly? Why is it literally flames of Pentecost touching the apostle? Because this is fire. It's spirit fire, you know, that actually is hugely energetic. Some masters have said, like, just a little piece of a few cells or a little piece of flesh in your body is enough to power a whole major metropolitan city, all the electricity for a week, you know. There's so much energy tied up in our physical. That's why an atom bomb works. You take a few pounds of plutonium and vaporize it, and it's a big bang. Well, how much energy does it take? Look at Einstein's equation, E equals mc squared. What that really means is c squared is the speed of light. It means when you square the speed of light, that's a whole pile of stuff. So basically you get tons of energy from a little bit of matter. E equals mc, energy and matter. A little bit of matter, you get tons of energy. That's all that says. So we are these incredible bundles of energy. You've coalesced a body. You have frozen a body in a sense. Spirit is steam. The body is like water and ice, you know. So we have coalesced a body. So why not learn how to willingly, consciously walk in and out of being spirit and physical? And I know I sound like a lunatic to many people saying that, but I grew up like a normal kid in Sweden, and my dad was a scientist, and I went to prep schools in England. Can you get any more preppy than England? Come on. I went to prep schools in England. I went to schools in Connecticut. Can you get any more white bread Yankee than that? I almost went to Yale University. I mean, you know, the whole thing, I came out of all that. So I know that whole, you know, it's not like I grew up, you know, raised by wolves, although that would have been kind of fun, probably. So, you know, this is, if you follow the yellow brick road, you will find, and more today, quantum physics is showing it too. So yes, It is liquid. The universe is liquid. It's a physics game. It's spiritual physics. When humans shut down, this is how quote, dark magicians or brujos, you want a secret? So I thought this is how you steal energy from people, if you're interested in that.
Oh, yes.
And this is how you also protect yourself from having people do this to you. They basically, you shame somebody is a great technique. You make fun of them, you shame them.
Lie about them, slander them.
Yeah, make them doubt themselves by things like this. Oh, come on, you're an idiot. You don't know. What are you? Oh, come on, you're stupid, you're ugly, you'll never amount to anything. That's a great way to damage kids. And when you do that, you shut down the exuberant spirit. You can see it if you do it to a dog. You know, a dog is born sort of open like babies, you know. And if you punish that dog and make it a beaten dog, then it has been shut down. Its spirit has been shut down. It's the difference between a wild stallion and a neutered gelding. It's a whole different energy ball game. You know, and I always wonder, and now I'm going to piss off some women, which I like doing.
I dare you to try.
Why do women like to neuter their wild stallions and then they get bored with them? I'm kidding, sort of. And the same with men, you know. We shut down the wild and the free energy. And then in a partner, we want to control them, and then we get bored with them. That's kind of weird. Why not just trust the original plan and let that energy do something? So people on Earth have been shut down. Imagine how we were originally when Adam and Eve had so much energy flowing through their bodies that they had no need to eat food. They could be naked, you know, they had no shame. It was just open, transparent, fun, play, sex. Yes, they had sex. The original sin is not sex. The original sin is having sex without allowing God to be part of it. That's original sin. So we've been shut down on Earth, and there is a force in the universe that enjoys shutting down life because it feeds on life. Just the way a child molester would feed on innocence of kids, you know. Just the way certain bosses can feed on the energy of their employees by torturing them. Just the way a government can feed on the people by making them fearful of the government instead of the government being a service, an honor, a respectful service to the people. And just the way cops can start feeding on people by using intimidation instead of being a servant, even though it says protect and serve, and I'm not picking on. There's lots of good people.
Instead of tasing grandparents for not wanting to go to the hospital to take their drugs.
Yeah. So there's a force in the universe that is not just on this planet, but it is in many, many planets across the galaxy and actually universes. It is a draining force. It drains energy. It is the way an orchid sucks juice from a tree. Did you know that orchids are parasites? It's kind of weird, you know.
Wow, they're so beautiful.
They're very seductive, but if you feel their energy, you can feel there's something creepy there. And it's funny, those stories of the 17th century British explorers that were hunting the magic orchids. They usually end up being seduced into the jungle and, you know, eaten by the headhunters or something. But anyhow, there is a vampire way of living off others' energy. And that can be done. There's this force in the universe that does that. Why? Because it does not want to go to God directly on its own, because God or Source has plenty of energy. But if you're in rebellion against the Source of the universe, call that God if you will, if you're in rebellion and want to set up a better place, a better way of doing it, but you don't have your own energy source, where do you get energy from? You get it from others. And so this vampirous thing starts, this thing that feeds on others. And that is, if you will, the dark side, you know, like in Star Wars. You know, that guy, his body is falling apart. The Emperor doesn't look that good, but he has really good powers that he can drain people's energy, you know. Yoda doesn't drain people's energies. He shows them how to wake up their own energy.
Mm-hmm.
This is why Star Wars is such a powerful, teaching tool in a sense. But so this force does exist, and some people make deals with this vampire force for whatever reasons, They say, I want power at any cost. If you do that, then ding, 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 this force shows up and asks you to sign on the dotted line. And ultimately you can say it's just one big game. So the galactic control of this denial force entered upon the Earth about 5 million years ago. Prior to that, the Earth was a paradise. There was no denial. There was no shame. There was no death. There was no aging. There was just free energy. Free energy, which, by the way, is why it's so difficult for us to be able to accept in free energy, as an energy source, because it's going to involve our consciousness having to wake up and realize that free energy is a reality and it exists inside us as well.
Oh, beautiful, Tobias. Behold that right there. So sorry we're out of time, but we will be right back after this short break. Stay tuned. Truth Brigade Radio. All right, welcome back. Thanks so much for joining us here tonight. Truth Brigade on AmericanFreedomRadio.com with Tobias Lars tonight, talking about the Galactic Illuminati, the blame game, and personal denial. And Tobias, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Was it the so-called Illuminati that brought on the personal denial and hence the blame game, or was it the denial first that created this galactic Illuminati we speak of?
I would suggest that without there being deniil, a empty space of where we're not connected to Source, to God, where we're not fully vibrating energetically, that offers the space for something slimy to crawl in. And once that gets a hold of you, this little concept of, you can pretend that's not happening or deny that, then it's like a fungus, literally. It can get a hold of you, and then it will want to grow itself. It'll want to take over more and more and more and more. Sort of like when you met people that they just take from you. They just want stuff from you. You can never satisfy them. They always keep needing just a little bit more,
Mm-hmm.
It's the same principle of, and you can feel that originally. God's plan is, the love plan or enjoying each other plan or freedom plan is 1 + 1 is 3 or more. And the denial plan is 1 + 1 is like less than 1. It starts sucking energy from you. I think Earth, from what I understand, denial can't come in uninvited, or these energies can't come in uninvited. In other words, the devil, quote unquote, has to respect your free will as well. You have to invite him or her and say, yeah, I'm willing to look the other way or in order to get this thing that I think I want, And so there really is ultimately no soul trespassing in my understanding. We have to, in a way, ask for it, which is really hard to swallow for people because we like to be victims. And immediately people go, you're telling me that a poor little child being molested is asking for it? Everyone immediately brings up child molestation because that's the most horrific thing on the planet, or something victim thing like that. But on Earth, it was a freedom planet, free will, beautiful experiment, and then there was some misunderstanding where there was some hiding ourselves from God and thinking that what we were doing wouldn't be acceptable in the Creator's eyes. And that offers space for denial. Once you hide something in the dark, excuse me, and we have free will as human beings. We have free will, so we can choose to go, yeah, I'm going to try it without being connected to Source. I'm going to try the Luciferian rebellion, you know. And we are free to do that. And the way we learn is basically it gets really freaking painful. That's what happens. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, you know, I guess we should talk about how we can bring an end to our personal denial. And, I mean, I guess we've talked about consequences of being in denial. We've done a couple shows on denial spirits and stuff. But so how can we bring an end to it?
Right. Through various techniques and methodologies that help bring the light. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. What does that mean? What's Jesus talking about? Or what is Kriya Yoga? Or, you know, what does Shiva teach? What are the 108 ways of awakening that Shiva teaches? Or what was Buddha talking about? There's 1,000 different ways of doing it. Prayer, meditation, be still and know that I am God, yoga, you know, every tradition, Sufi dancing, you know, moving your body, feeling good, being willing to dissect your own thoughts. There's 1,000 ways of doing this. I wanted to say, it is a cool story in a way. So there is this force with lots of beings running across the galaxy looking for places to drain. And they actually have drained. There's multiple universes in our creation as well, which scientists are talking about nowadays. You know, multiple string theory and so forth, multiple universes. And I'm sure some of them would be shocked that, you know, the way I'm talking, that they don't want anything to do with me about it. But
anyway. and nobody's in denial here, right?
No, right. And it's a hard process. It's an exacting, excruciating process. When you start telling the universe, I want to wake up, it's not always just a happy, you know, follow the yellow brick road and let's dance down the roads with the elves. No, it's usually a 2x4 to the head and people turning on you and thinking you're crazy and I don't want to promote the suffering aspect, and we don't want to become sort of martyrs and self-flagellate. It doesn't have to be super painful. But by the virtue of the way the dominant paradigm of society is today, once you start wanting to wake up.
Oh, very nice, Tobias. Hold that right there, though. Once we start waking up, stay tuned, everyone. Be back at the top of the hour. Tobias Lars, Truth Brigade Radio. All right, welcome back. Top of the second hour here tonight with Tobias Lars, talking about the blame game and personal denial. And Tobias, that was so beautiful what you said. I hope you didn't lose your train of thought, but you left off on what happens when we start to wake up.
Yeah, it's like sweating blood and tears, right? That's why you have a band named Blood, Sweat, and Tears, you know, because we can all relate to it. Seemingly, it's that dark night of the soul or a difficult process. St. Francis was basically made an outcast, you know. Once you become successful, everybody worships you. Oh, yeah, I was always behind you. But while you're saying, you know, you're battling for your freedom, it's pretty tough. We are addicts to this culture. Culture, again, you've heard me say it is cult, C-U-L-T-U-R-E. You are in a cult, any culture. And so when you start saying to the universe, I want to wake up, show me who I really am, often that is some difficult things. Often you leave the partner you're with, or you may go bankrupt. Now, I'm not suggesting that. Maybe the new model could be that it could be easier and easier. You know, maybe awakening is going to get easier and easier. But, you know, even Eckhart Tolle spent 2 years, quote, homeless or, you know, sitting on park benches. And now, of course, the world loves him. But at the time, they probably thought he was just some weird dude sitting there in the park looking at the ducks. There's something weird about him, you know. So that's sort of normal, you know, and when someone like me, I, you know, go get master's degrees in business, and then I go, oh, no, I'm just going to play in the deserts of Arizona for a while. And they go, and my mom says, did you actually get a degree from that graduate school there? You know, it's just understandable because we don't fit the model. The model is become good sheeple, become good, you know, follow the program, you know, go become a doctor and suck living amounts of money out of the U.S. taxpayer. Did you know that operation my mom just had with open heart surgery, God bless her, she's doing really good, probably cost $200,000. Now, where does that money come from?
Wow.
Doesn't come from her pocket. Who pays for it?
You.
The U.S. taxpayer pays for it. So basically our medical system is the biggest welfare program going. Every fancy doctor that people bow down and go, oh, doctor. They're the biggest welfare program recipients, the biggest are doctors.
Or insurance companies. Because even the doctors are kind of getting edged out now with the high insurance and malpractice and stuff rates they're forced to pay.
Right. So it's this giant feeding trough at the public trough. You know, it's giant feeding at the public government trough. You know. So my point is, it's just like, oh, we think that's okay, but someday you have to pay the piper, and we can all smell it coming. That's why we're all getting a financial, you know, scare here the last few years. It's got to work. You can't. I mean, you can create money out of nothing, but not if you're thinking you're in the old model.
Okay.
You know, you can have energy for nothing. You can have, you know, money for nothing and chicks for free. Thank you, Dire Straits. but not if you're thinking you're getting away with something, or if you're borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. Then eventually that Ponzi scheme falls apart. We're doing a giant Ponzi scheme in America right now. The whole country is a Ponzi scheme. You know, Bernie Madoff. I love that stuff. Madoff. Bernie, you heard me say it before, Bernie Madoff with your money. There you go.
Yeah, we couldn't have it any other way here in the USS of A, Inc., but it's that time, so we're going to be right back after this short break. Stay tuned. Truth Brigade Radio. All right, welcome back. Taking it easy here tonight. Truth Brigade on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. If you would like to join us for the text chat tonight, that's over at truthbrigade.com. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to give us a call at 402-237-2525. That's 402-AFR-2525. Our special guest tonight, author, soul counselor, and personal awakening coach, Tobias Lars. Soulcounseling.com is the website, or innerbodyawakening.com, talking about the Galactic Illuminati, the blame game, and personal denial. Tobias, let's talk about this dead-end blame game we're in.
So one of the ways that the Galactic Illuminati, who are the bosses of the Earth Illuminati, operate to take over a planet is they divide and conquer. You set beings and people against each other. You have wars, you have suspicion, you have envy, you sow seeds of dissension. And one way to do that is to create, you know, blame. You know, someone needs to be blamed. Someone's got to be punished. Someone has to be pay for this thing. And you notice that real teachers are about, well, no, you're all forgiven. It's fine. There's grace. You know, God or Source will forgive you. That's the main teaching of real teachers. They're trying to wipe out this, you know, eye for an eye, a pound of flesh type mentality.
Yeah, doesn't an eye for an eye leave the whole world blind?
Yeah, pretty much. And here we are, you know. So the blame game is when you need to find... Now, there's a difference between justice and blame, you know. Justice is the natural order of correction of the physics, spiritual physics of the universe, where And even that law is transcended or permitted to be fudged a little if you love God enough, if you accept who you really are, this is not being servile, this is not being controlled by some God. This is really just like any true parent. Don't they love just seeing their child fulfilled? Healthy parents now, Healthy parents really feel good when they see their child blossom. Well, the same with a healthy God. So if you're serving an unhealthy God, I recommend you get the hell out of there quickly. But if you have a healthy God in the sense of source, she, him, loves to see you come to life. Enjoy yourself, Be healthy, enjoy the world, enjoy all that it has to give. This is really about enjoyment. Earth was meant as a paradise, as a really fun place. There's some really cool things created on Earth. Waterfalls, beautiful oceans. Everything is beautiful. Everything that is naturally created. Think about it for just a second. If you leave nature alone, doesn't it just automatically create beautiful things? Whether it's the desert or the jungles or the ocean or the mountains, it's all beautiful. So the basic operating system, the divine operating system, you've heard me say that before, the real DOS, is a beauty-creating program. It creates beautiful bodies, beautiful beings, beautiful animals, beautiful sceneries, beautiful vistas, beautiful energies. I mean, come on. Sex is a pretty dang good creation. Whoever thought that up, that can be really fun. And it can be really horrible. It can be misused. But the basis of it in a natural, healthy state is absolute orgasm. Yeah, that's the word. So it's actually a beautiful thing. It's meant to be beauty. So the blame game is one of the tools used by the divide and conquer crowd. It says, well, someone must be blamed, or point the finger at them, Blame, blame, blame. You did this to me. You need to pay. Keep track, Whereas real teachers come and say, no, forgiveness. Now, they don't forgive stupidly. In other words, you don't enable. You don't say, oh, I forgive you for taking over my house. No. Justice is smart. Justice is firm. Justice can be very tough when it deals with denials. But it is very soft when it deals with, and very forgiving when it deals with hearts, with love, with innocence, with openness, with being honest, respectful with each other. Then we're quick to forgive, and so is the universe. So the blame game is one of the techniques to use to get us to blame each other. You did this, no, you did that, and off we go to war, to get us pitted against each other, like the poor pit bull dogs that get a bad rap. What a beautiful temperament dog pit bulls are. But if you stir them up and damage them emotionally, basically, and then stick them in a pit, you dig a pit, and then you get them to fight each other. We humans have been turned into pit bulls. We're here fighting each other over limited resources, which is the biggest lie ever, There doesn't have to be limited resources. There's no such thing as a limited energy resource in the universe. The sun creates so much energy, there's not a problem. But when you build an artificial pit and throw humans down into that hole and say, fight it out, then you get what's going on. I mean, the whole battle we're almost going to World War III because of oil is a pit bull game. It is an artificial scarcity game. There's no such thing as needing oil. It's ridiculous. It's just a stupid game that we bought into. But which is a perfect technique as well. You set up an artificially scarcity. It's like that ridiculous commercials that go, hurry, 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 sale only lasts till Sunday, 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 and you're like, really? You seem to have this sale every day of the week. Yes, but this is your last chance to buy the bed of your, whatever it is. And that's artificial scarcity in order to try to get people to do it. And it's really quite amazing. It works. It works. People actually get killed every year in some sales at Thanksgiving or something, there were some stories of somebody trampled at Walmart, It's like unbelievable. But when you program the herd, you know, that's what you get. They trample each other. So artificial scarcity is another game that the Galactic Illuminati do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they come to a planet and say, no, there's only so much, and God hates you, and He's never going to help you, and you have to come through us, you know. The only way you're going to be able to...
after you die, and...
the only way you're going to get back to heaven is... The only way you're going to get back to heaven is if you buy our letters of indulgences, if you go to our church, and we're the only ones going to heaven. These are all the ridiculous games that these Galactic Illuminati soul vampire feeders on the meek that they use. And if you fall for it, you know, then you will be at the effect of it. But remember that you are a true child of the universe, of real God, and you can always say, no, I'm done. Now, your mom might yell at you and go, if you don't stay with our church, you're going to go to hell. You're going to have to risk that. You're going to have to risk that. And that's very difficult to do. I'm not, you know, I'm trying to make a little bit of light of it, but it's very difficult because it's emotionally tearing apart when you have to leave the programming you came from and say, you know, that's not the truth, and I'm going to go direct and find out from the source, you know. So the blame game,
sounds like you're already answering a question that was just put up in the text chat. So let me read that. It says, this may be blame or denial, but would it be less painful if you, the seeker, weren't physically living with people who haven't yet asked to awaken and are content sleeping?
Do you want the truth or do you want pablum?
We want it all.
Yeah. Well, yes, often that is very difficult because they will not understand you. You know, Jesus' mother probably was a little freaked out when he started doing what he was doing. I don't know that for sure, but, you know, part of her probably felt, why can't you be a regular kid and become a doctor? You know. Sorry.
Yeah, just be a doctor, be a lawyer, be a cop.
Yeah.
Join the military.
So,
don't question the banksters. You say.
Yeah, which we understand is well-meaning. But so when you're breaking that paradigm, if your partner isn't ready to make that shift with you, now you can live together and be together, but often it becomes more difficult, you know, because the energy is very different now. You're on a different frequency. And now, it can all be misused, too. You know, this is not a thing about using as a sword to tell your relatives or boyfriends or girlfriends, you're an idiot, and I'm more enlightened than you, and I have to leave you. You know, that's not, that probably means you have to stay with them, you know.
Yeah, get your butt kicked.
Yeah, it takes care of itself, generally, but sometimes you will be inspired to sometimes, yes, divorce. You know, this latest book, Eat, Pray, Love, is all about, you know, the woman saying, I got to go do my thing, you know. So, yeah, I'm sure that really hurt the husband. And some people have remarked, well, that was cruel to him. But in a way, it was a journey maybe she had to take. So often it is disruptive. See, when Jesus says, when a teacher says, you know, we call him the Prince of Peace, but then he says, I've come to set father against son and brother against brother. You know, what does that mean? You know, he says, I've come to set father against son, mother against daughter, and brother against brother and sister. What? That doesn't even make sense. Well, maybe he's describing there that when you start to follow the divine plan and you leave behind human's plan or the programmed survival program of humanity at this point, you will be a disruptor of some sort, and your brother is going to go, just picture the Italian family right now, going, hey, Tony, what are you doing, you know? You're not doing what the family's supposed to do. You're off here doing this weird thing. At least become a priest, but if you're going to do this weird spiritual stuff, it's just off the Richter scale. You can't do this, you know? And so families, often well-meaning families, want to help you, but they really just know how to help you with what they know is to stay safe, which means stay inside the fence, don't stick out and don't speak up or you're going to get hurt, you know. So, yes, it can be difficult, and often it's not right to do it. I had to be separate from the world. I got divorced and went through a bankruptcy, and I call it the holy trifecta. If you've read the book, you know that, Christy. The holy trifecta of waking up, which is bankruptcy, divorce, and cancer. And if you get so lucky to get all three at once, consider yourself very, very lucky, because you'll be waking up really quick, you know. Yeah, so often it's very difficult. Doesn't mean you have to have that, again, difficulty, but if it's obviously unequally yoked or you're not matched with your old environment, you will be moved on one way or the other, kicking or screaming or semi-consciously, or saying, yeah, I need to go I need to take this step. And with your heart in your throat, you'll make that leap and go, please catch me, God. But, you know, and I don't encourage anyone becoming martyrs about it or saying suffering and all this. No, it really is going to be better and better and better and better. But it's just the way we're heroin addicts. The whole planet, we're heroin addicts. We're addicted to money and approval. We're addicted to people liking us. We're addicted to having money and looking good. We're addicted to our egos feeling safe. And if you're asking God to wake up from that, then you're going to have some interesting tests, you know. But the thing is, the real freedom lies on the other side. Real freedom. Real enjoyment. I was driving around today, and I was just in ecstasy, orgasm in my body for no reason. Just driving on the freeway, and I was just enjoying the drive. And I had nowhere to go, nothing to do, and I'm just having private communion with God, private communion with Source. Yeah, and it is the sweetest, delectable thing in the universe.
Absolutely. You know, I like that you said heroin addicts, because, you know, what popped in my mind is heroes or heroines, and you know, we're kind of addicted to that too, because that's another way we give our power away. You know, someone else can do it, and, you know, we worship people who we're told are our heroes or authorities and such, and kind of deny ourselves actually becoming the hero or heroine ourselves.
Right on. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and for some people, I'm more soft on that a little bit nowadays. It is an appropriate place to sometimes be a follower and sometimes a leader. It's part of the whole game. You know, I was talking to a woman today who is really good at helping organize and create things, but she's not really a front person, you know, like on stage. But that's her bliss, you know, to help put it together and watch the fruits of it. So we all have different roles. But yeah, if we're not stepping up to what we ought to be doing, meaning in the sense that we really want to be doing, then we will just never be fulfilled, really, you know. And so you might as well do it now. What are we waiting for? What's the difference? You know, thank you, Nike, you know. Just do it.
Absolutely. I know. Well, I love how that video, and, you know, you talked about there's nothing to fear, including fear itself, because it is kind of fearful when you make the decision to kind of wake up, when you realize that we are in this silly blame game and literally in denial of ourselves and who we really are and what we're really capable of, and, you know, all the little beliefs that put us in these little prisons that we stay so tightly chained to. In fact, you know, this reminds me, there was an experiment done in the 60s, and it was with a dog, and they wanted to, they put him in a cage, and they decided to put little shock treatments on the left side of the cage. You know, every time he stepped there, he'd be shocked. So, you know, naturally the dog went to the right side of the cage. Well, then they decided to start, you know, letting the shocks come up on the right side of the cage. And so, you know, eventually he decided the left side of the cage was the safe place. Well, then they started shocking the whole floor, just, you know, sporadically and random. So there really was, you know, no place that the dog could safely go. But the shocker is they opened the cage. They opened the door. And what did the dog do? Stayed in the cage. We will be right back. Truth Brigade Radio. That's right, I'll take some of that. Peace of mind. Welcome back. Truth Brigade Radio with Tobias Lars tonight. And, you know, just to finish up, I thought that study was just really indicative of our fear of truly being free. I mean, here the cage is open and he doesn't want to go because he's just so used to torture, so used to beating down. He probably forgot he could run out the cage. I don't know, but I know that kind of resembles where we are in our lives. I mean, in my opinion, I think we have an incredible threshold for pain tolerance, but hopefully we could, you know, just turn that around and you know, not be afraid of being free. I'd like to talk more about that, but we have a caller on the line who's been on so patiently holding. I think it's our friend Louie B. How are you doing tonight?
Hello, it's Toby.
Louie.
Hi, Christy. Hi, Toby.
Hey, Louie.
How you doing?
Yeah, well, my first question is for Tobias. What would possess you to get a tramp stamp saying that you have to be 18 or over to ride this ride?
What?
Say it again. What would possess us to want to come and do this ride on Earth?
Okay, no. What would possess you to get a lower back tattoo saying that you have to be 18 or over to ride this ride?
Oh, no, the pictures were leaked.
Yeah.
Hey, at least he has guidelines, okay?
Hey,
Yeah, we can't blame that on the Illuminati. I'm sorry.
And by the way, I saw those pictures, Tobias. I will be ordering you a male version of Spanx in the morning.
Okay.
Okay, that's great. All right, Louie. Come on. I thought you had a real question.
I do have a real question, but I had to twist his nuts a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, but, I've been noticing that I don't care how big a person is. If anyone mouths off at me, I'm just willing to get up in their face. And this is fairly new. I've been noticing I've been getting a lot more aggressive and just not caring. What could that be?
You want to? Yeah. No, I think it's a sign of the times. It's when we are pushed, when the energies that are happening on the planet start pushing us, then we just don't want to take any crap anymore. And the trick is so that, you know, we don't get killed doing that stuff. I'm teasing. No, you know, you don't want to get too beat up. But, yeah, I went through a phase in my life when I would do that. I asked my friend one time from Brooklyn, he's a big guy, and we were out somewhere. I said, listen, would you protect me if I picked a fight here tonight?
That sounds like Louie. That's exactly what he said to me when I visited.
Yeah. And so find a way to let it out as much as you can vocally. This is real advice now. Because if you can let it out with your voice, you know, like through screaming and yelling, is better than with a fist, you know. It's always when you hold it in, then you snap, that's when the guns and the knives comes out, and then it's not a good time had by anybody.
Yeah,
good advice.
The thing is, today, case in point, today, coming out of the movie theater, you know, I saw the Green Hornet, don't waste your money. Yeah, don't. Seth Rogen is just ridiculous. coming out of the movie theater. You know, and you know, I'm not a jerk. I'm not going to run over some chick, so I waited my turn at the door to exit because I didn't want to hit her with the door like, you know, a normal human being. But her boyfriend had to turn around and say, "Yeah, I thought so."
Mhm.
And I turned around like, "Excuse me, expletive?"
Mhm. Therapy at the movie theater, right on. I use it as therapy, but usually I use it on timeshare salesmen and creditors. Like, you know, when I was going through my bankruptcy, I would use the poor credit guys calling me. I would use them for therapy. I would ask them how they felt about themselves, you know, and the job they were doing. And, you know, I would just, no. Yeah, right.
I basically got up in his face, and I'm like, I can kill you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When Joy and I first met, there was a time at a local tuning place that tunes your car, and for some reason it wouldn't get done right, and I couldn't get emissions passed. And I went livid ballistic in public. There's like 10 people in the waiting room, you know. And Joy just sort of walked out the door, you know, left the premises. But my intention was not to hurt this. I wanted whatever this energy inside me to get out of me. My intentions, here's the trick to it. If your intention is, I just want to be done, I want healing, you may feel like I want to punch this guy's face in, but if underneath that you're like, show me, I want this out of me, it's like you're purging, then that intention, by their fruits you shall know them. The guy at the Zoom tune and I ended up being really good friend, nice to each other, you know? But because I just wanted justice. I didn't want to get him. That's the difference. I want the truth and justice. Don't make it personal, you know? But right now there's a lot of energy on the planet being boiled up. And I used to go driving in the car, crank up, you know, whatever it was, you know, Slayer and you know, Danzig because I like him, and then Marilyn Manson later when he came out. And I would scream at the top of my lungs, and I would tell God exactly what I felt, you know. And that was better than me going home and drinking and punching somebody out, you know. So these energies need to move sometimes. That's practical advice. I actually do that with clients sometimes.
But I really wanted to destroy him. I mean,
yeah.
As soon as I said, "Dude, I will kill you,"
right?
He was like, No. I really just, and I looked at him, and I'm like, let us go out. Let's us handle this outside.
Yeah.
And I opened the door, and he didn't walk in. He just kissed his girl and squeezed her ass, and I guess he won that one.
Yeah. Well, I hear you, Louie, and it's okay to feel that feeling, and actually, you know, occasionally it acts out. And
I could have fired my hand, I would have.
Yeah, I hear you. But the thing is, what I do when I'm in the middle of if you have blind rage like that, which is one of the most denied, speaking of denial, by the way, Louis, you're bringing up a really good point. The Illuminati, Lucifer program, they really love to do stuff to us so we feel that level of rage, and then they like us to swallow it, and that's the hook that gets stuck inside us. We have to find healthy ways to let this rage surface again just as energy without actually, you know, shooting each other in the head. Humans are so freaking angry, most of us, right, that every 20 years we create a giant, or 40 years we create a giant war on the planet and sacrifice our 18-year-old boys over and women and girls now.
This is just so strange to me because normally I would just let it go and keep it moving because I just don't want to. I don't want to be bothered. I don't want to be bothered. I mean, which is the only reason why I say please and thank you, because I just don't want to be bothered with having to get into a confrontation unless I have to. But nowadays, I really just couldn't give a crap. I mean, first person that says boo boo at me, you know, I'm ready.
Here's my
maybe
suggestion.
you should try what Tobias did and drive down. Well, okay, maybe not drive.
No.
Put your iPod and listen to Danzig or Against the Machine works well for me, or Corporate Avenger, Poker Face. I don't know.
You know what? I read it.
Therapy. Get it out before you beat it out, right?
Well, you know what you don't know about me is I'm a part-time abortionist. So that's I'm just kidding.
Literally, I'm serious. The more you can let it just be with your voice, in other words, if you have to scream at people, because the energy moves with the voice, it's the people that are really dangerous. We all know that. Oh, he was such a quiet guy, and then they unfortunately, get the gun and get up in the tower and start shooting people. It really is the suppression that makes people flip. So I would voice it, give voice to your feelings, whether it's sadness, crying, or rage. And this is really part of the healing for humans because it's been so repressed and suppressed. And I say this with all sincerity. If we hadn't had rock and roll and heavy metal and stuff, World War III would have gone off. It is really helping us sort of like uncork some of this pressure. And I want to say, it is that time on earth right now. This is the boiling. This is the time of tribulation. This is the boiling of feelings. So we're going to have hair triggers occasionally. Forgive yourself for that. Forgive yourself for that. You're not a bad person in any way. And just say, I am just purging my stuff. And you just want to find safe ways of doing it. Literally, I used to go driving, because my neighbors couldn't handle it. And I used to play music. I just play my guitar and I'd, make up songs that were not that loving,
Actually, what's been helping me is going on my radio show talking about infinite love and consciousness and smacking my significant other around like a rag doll.
As long as they like it. Yeah, that's cool.
Well, Louis, you do have a perfect opportunity with your radio show to voice and vent and get that out. So where do we get to listen to you vent?
Oh, listen to me right after Christie's show on crutchshotradio.com/listen live. Today's going to be a doozy.
Tonight, Louis will be doing 1 hour of full body screaming and howling. Tune in.
I can hear it, too, and he's going to say, Tobias said I can do it. Tobias told me to. I mean, because I use that excuse all the time. Thank you, Tobias.
Yeah, when I grow up to be like Tobias, I hope I'm able to get them young high school chicks, because they all stay the same age. Right, Tobias?
Right on.
Right on.
All right, Louis. Well, thank you so much for your call. I'm proud of you. You censored yourself with your expletive, and you had a real question. Thanks for sharing with us. And getting real.
You.
All right, love you.
Stay black.
Take care, Louis.
Bye. That was awesome. Louis getting real with us tonight. What a blessing.
Louis getting down with it. Getting jiggy with it. Getting funky. Right on. No, that's really true. One of the main things we need to learn is to find healthy ways to express these repressed energies inside us. Because it is otherwise this poor kid in Tucson, and we can all have opinions of whether he was mind-controlled or programmed or if he was just a victim of the collective floating around, But if someone had been able to reach him and healthily let some of that steam out, then it doesn't often manifest in an act where we go assassinate other people, which really makes it worse, and that does serve the denial side. We have to find healthy outlets for things. Exercise is good, and screaming is really good. And if you can find a partner that understands this process, or you can learn together that this isn't personal. This is just me being really angry. I don't even know why I'm angry, or I'm really sad. Sometimes women are really sad at certain times of their cycle, and they have no clue why, and we make fun of it, But this is the accessing of the emotions that is crucial. It is crucial to for the healing of the planet, to heal your emotional body. If you don't, it doesn't matter how smart you are. If you're an emotional cripple, which is everybody raise their right hand. Hello, my name is Tobias. I still have some emotions I need to heal. Thank you very much. You know,
welcome, Tobias. No. All right, we're going to be right back after this short break, so stay tuned, everyone. Tobias Lars here on Truth Brigade Radio. Here tonight, Truth Brigade on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. This is the last segment with our special guest tonight, Tobias Lars, personal awakening coach and author of Listening to the Sun, which you can find at soulcounseling.com, Galactic Illuminati, The Blame Game, and Personal Denial. And, you know, I'm glad Louie called in and shared that with us because, you know, you brought up a really good point. It's the suppression, once again, that causes the outrage. So one way or another, we're going to have to deal with the stuff, right? So...
Right.
Why don't we do it before it deals with us?
And once we get clean of this backed up, we have soul tartar buildup. You know, never mind the tartar on your teeth. Relax about that. You know what I'm saying? Your white, shiny teeth ain't going to get you to heaven. You know, it's getting anyway. But if we clean our energies inside, then there is no foothold. There is no string that can be pulled. Your chain can't be yanked by the Illuminati on this planet and by the big Illuminati that are running around on the galaxy. If you have no target within you, you can't be gotten. And the only way you can't be gotten is to get it out of you. And to get it out of you is an energetic process. The two practical things that I really help people with and that I use every day myself now for a long time, a year and a half at least, but under these names, but all kinds of techniques before that. But the alchemyprocess.com is my contribution. Spirit was strong with me this past year. Just make really practical, simple, available tools. If you don't have the money to do private sessions with me, but you know, for $24.95, I think they are, it's a permanent. You can have the alchemy process, which literally takes these energies. It's a simple 4-step process. You have to do it, just like anything else. If you don't get on the bike, you don't learn how to ride the bike. On how to alchemize, to change these energies. It's all energy. When Louis is angry, he's just having this flush of energy. It's you know, sadness. Anything you don't want in your life can be alchemized, because it's all energy, into an energy that feels good and supportive to you. And the Inner Body Awakening puts you in touch, innerbodyawakening.com, puts you in touch with your inner energetic body. I'm interested in giving individuals tools that they can wake themselves up and become their own powerhouses, because that's the only thing. God showed me 20 years ago, he said, showed me a vision of me in front of 100,000 people, and they're all waving the Om flag. And he said, Tobias, this is not helpful. I know you think this will be helpful, but it won't be helpful just to have mass rallies. What's helpful is that when individual people wake themselves up, one by one, the kingdom, the reawakening will happen. WON, we will win it one by one. Do your own thing, and we're not alone. So my contributions are the courseofawakening.com and alchemyprocess.com and the innerbodyawakening.com. And
great contributions, might I add, which have been instrumental tools in my path. So I thank you very much. And really, it's, I mean, what, $24.95 or like $11.95, and I mean, it's affordable. It's not like you have to go to some big convention and someone's going to sell you these secrets, or go to school for however many thousands of dollars or this and that. And it's the most useful tools that I've come across. So you know, people still have the misconception sometimes. I had some, I'm sorry to say it, but I'm going to say it, some crazy lady from Canada a while back say, you shouldn't be charging for spirituality. I go, yeah, I understand. Eventually we won't, but while we're still living in this money world, you know,
and I tried to ask her because I could feel psychically that she was a smoker, and I said, well, how much do you spend a month on cigarettes? $50, $75? Oh, I see. $11.95 isn't worth to spend on something that will help you wake up. That argument is out the window. And it's time we tell the truth. You know, the reason the Vatican has coffers of untold spoils from wars is because we've had this weird denial game about spirituality and money. It's all meant to go together. And when we wake up, money will disappear. But in the meantime, we can't let the devil's crowd or denial have all the money, you know. Strip clubs have lots of money. Well, that's not the way it should be. You know, mafia has lots of money. Well, that's not the way it should be. You know, the way it should be is good service gets rewarded, and we all share and help. Spend your money where your mouth is. Put your money where your mouth is. You know. So I'm just speaking to that. Yeah, I've tried to make it affordable. And you can buy MP3s of me for $1.99. Let me see. Do I want a pack of cigarettes or 3 MP3s? Oh, it's too much to buy. So you can't charge $1.99.
Well,
ridiculous.
A pack of cigarettes is like 5 or 6 times more than that anymore. But,
yeah.
I mean, really, when you think about it this way, it's, I mean, besides all of the time and free wisdom you share with us here, every single Thursday and many other shows you do, your videos on YouTube, etc., Facebook group. I mean, you know, let me ask you this. Do spiritual teachers also need to eat? Do they also need roofs? Or, I mean, no. Hello, it's pretty cold. Do you also not need heat?
I'm a total breatharian. I simply live off the light. But my dog Bentley still eats lots of meat, so I got to buy him food.
There you go. You're a breatharian, but Bentley needs to eat. Okay.
Yeah, I'm obviously eat some myself too. No, so yeah, and we can wake up. You know, that's the good news here. It's not once you do something like the inner body awakening. See, he heard me talking about. He heard me talking about him. He said, "I'm ready for dinner." Sorry.
Bentley, wait your turn. Oh, darn it. Well, we are out of time. But Tobias, awesome. Back this year. Right. Bentley, we all love you. Chill out, buddy. We'll see you soon. Miss you. And y'all have a wonderful night. Thank you so much for being here. Once again, alchemyprocess.com or innerbodyawakening.com. Thank you again, and stay tuned for Freeman coming up next. Abundant blessings and love to all. We will see you tomorrow night. Truth Brigade Radio.